Happy Monday, football fans. I'm Harrison Graham, host of this show for Verts on the Chat Sports Network. NFL and college football coverage coming at you all the time. And listen, things are getting interesting in Pittsburgh as Justin Fields pushing Russell Wilson to be the starting quarterback this season. And he's been getting all the reps as of now as Russell Wilson's been dealing with a minor calf issue. I wanted to dive into that for a few minutes. Plus, kind of rapid fire on some other topics coming out of training camp, some holdouts, some contract negotiations going on around several star players. So we'll get to all that here on today's show. But first, subscribe to the channel for Verts. We're just under a week launched, and the response has been awesome from you guys. We're at about 640 subscribers, and I said, okay, hey, let's challenge the audience today. If we get up to 700 subscribers, about 60 away, by the time we're set to film tomorrow's video, tomorrow's show will be 5 blockbuster NFL trades that could reshape the league for the 2024 season. I already have a few ideas cooked up, so if you guys want that video coming at you, hit that subscribe button. We'll continue to crank out content on a daily basis. Okay, let's talk Pittsburgh and Justin Fields and Russell Wilson and where things sit right now. ESPN's Dan Graziano reporting on Sunday that Pittsburgh is, quote, open-minded to Fields earning the starting job over Russell Wilson. Now, again, Fields has been getting all the reps with the ones. Wilson's been dealing with the minor calf issue he suffered the day before training camp. Mike Tomlin says it's not a big deal, and he could be back as soon as Tuesday when the pads go on at training camp in Pittsburgh. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on that, and I would expect Russ to get the bulk of the work with the ones early on there. As far as how Fields has looked so far, up and down. And, you know, that's very much how his tenure in Chicago was. I know some of you guys that watch the show know that I cover the Bears here at Chat Sports. Bears Now, go check it out. I watched every snap of Justin Fields' career. And up and down is a great way to put it. The highs were extremely high. The lows were extremely low. Everything in between that you could possibly imagine before Ryan Poles opted to ship him to Pittsburgh and draft Caleb Williams. And it's been a little up and down in practice so far, according to reports out of Pittsburgh. Now, you've seen some of the vertical passing, the downfield throwing, certainly the explosive mobility, which if I'm a Pittsburgh fan and I'm looking at this situation and I'm saying, hey, do I want Russ to start or do I want Justin Fields to start? I'm more intrigued by Justin Fields. He offers more dynamic ability as a runner, certainly more excitement overall. Russell Wilson at this point is kind of just a name. His last 3 seasons in the NFL, he has not been very good. Statistically last year, his numbers looked pretty good, and he certainly played better last year than the year before under Nathaniel Hackett, which was just one of the all-time debacles in NFL history. But still, even Sean Payton was like, get out of my building. We will eat $85 million in dead cap over the next 2 years because you're not my guy. That speaks volumes to me, regardless of what you think of Sean Payton. Like, it's one of the more accomplished offensive coaches in the last 25 years in the NFL. Now, if I'm looking at this QB situation, it's kind of short-term, long-term, right? Like, in a vacuum, does Russ give you a better chance to compete this year? Probably, but I don't think that's a clear-cut answer. And if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm pretty intrigued to see what Justin Fields looks like in an Arthur Smith offense, who is easily the most accomplished offensive mind that Fields will have played under at this point. Matt Nagy his first year, Luke Getsy the last couple of years. Now he gets Arthur Smith, who not only revitalized Ryan Tannehill's career, turned him into a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and they went to an AFC championship game and then were the number 1 seed in the AFC the next year. So Arthur Smith, who wasn't a great head coach in Atlanta, but as an offensive coordinator, is pretty accomplished in this league. And am I more intrigued by what he can do with a 6'3", 230-pound quarterback that runs a 4.4, has a cannon of an arm, or Russell Wilson, who's 5'10", 36 years old, not nearly the athlete he was 3, 4, 5, 7 years ago, and kind of a dink and dunk quarterback now? I'm more intrigued to see what Justin Fields can do in Pittsburgh. Now, let's be clear. Fields has flaws. I've watched every one of his snaps for 3 years. His biggest issue coming out of college was his inability and, quite frankly, lack of willingness to attack the middle of the field. that has continued in the NFL. It seems like he has a delayed trigger. He's not seeing it. Whatever the reason is, he does not attack the middle of the field frequently. Now, neither does Russell Wilson. So it's not like Russ has a clear leg up there. What Justin Fields has done really well is he's a great downfield passer, one of the better deep ball throwers in the NFL. And when shit breaks down, he can make things happen. He can break sacks. You can use design QB runs with him. If nothing else, if he doesn't trust what he sees, he can go get you 7, 8, 10, 50 yards sometimes. A couple years ago, he had multiple 50-plus yard runs in 2022. Like, that's pretty exciting and intriguing to me if I am Pittsburgh. So that's kind of my take. Like, I expect Russell Wilson to start week 1, but this schedule's tough. If I'm Pittsburgh, if I see Russ lose a game or two early, you're 1-2, 1-3 out the gate, I'd rather see what Fields can do. Russ is on a 1-year vet minimum. Fields is on the final year of his rookie contract, but you traded for him. Don't you owe it to yourself to see what he can do? I don't think many people expect the Steelers to be in the AFC Championship mix this year. If you want to scrap out 9-8 again, if you're Mike Tomlin, yeah, Russ probably gives you a better chance of doing that. But Justin Fields at least gives you some chance of being the long-term answer. And who knows, even if it's a small percentage, he gives you a better chance to pop and win 10, 11 games this year, in my opinion. Now, would I bet on that? No, because he has major flaws as a passer up to this point. But I'm supposed to believe Russell Wilson in the AFC North that also has Joe Burrow, a stout Browns roster, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and, oh, by the way, the other big boys in the AFC, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Josh Allen in the Bills. Russell Wilson's going to go compete with those guys. I just don't see it, man. I do not see it whatsoever. So I would roll with Fields, see what you got there. We'll see how things unfold in Pittsburgh. Little rapid fire here, some other NFL training camp storylines from Monday and really just the last couple of days. Matt Judon drama. Things are getting interesting in New England as the Patriots have spent this offseason re-signing, extending a lot of their own guys, but not Matt Judon. And today, as he's been holding in, he's been present, but he hasn't been practicing, he had some heated exchanges with both head coach Jerod Mayo and Eliot Wolf, who's their de facto GM now, and he just left the practice field. Now, who knows what the full context is there, right, at this point in time, but he's kind of tweeted out some subliminal messaging over the last couple of months. He's frustrated. He wants a new deal. He's going to turn 32 next month and knows he could probably only cash in one more time, and he's seen all his buddies in New England get new deals, but he's not one of them. And he's coming off a year which he missed a lot of the year with an injury, so he's holding firm. He's saying, listen, I got to get my money if I'm going to keep playing. If I'm New England, I'm trading Matt Judon. Now, they probably want him to show up and play and ball out and then flip him at the deadline. I think behind closed doors, they would probably tell you that because they're not ready to win right now. So why would you give a 32-year-old next month, Matt Judon, a 2-3 year extension of $25+ million per year, which is probably what he wants? And he's probably worth that on a short-term deal for some teams, but not New England. Like, they got no chance of competing at a high level this year. Could he help them in the short term, be a veteran leader? Yeah, which is why, again, I think they'd like him to practice and to show up and to play well. And then if they find a good deal at the deadline, they could flip him. But with him being a free agent next year, paying him just doesn't make sense if you're New England. So if the drama continues, I would consider flipping him now. You already have a first-time head coach, a first-time offensive coordinator, first-time defensive coordinator. Like, do you need this drama right now? You have a not great QB situation. You're trying to develop Drake May. Like, if you could get a second-round pick for Matt Judon, would you not take it if you're New England? I think even a third. So, again, there's going to be teams interested in his services as a pass rusher, and maybe you have to sell low a little bit. Maybe you do have to settle for a third, but he's not in their future, and if moving him now avoids further drama, that might just be worth it. Tristan Wirfs, he's been holding in as well. He wants a new contract with the Buccaneers, final year of his rookie deal. Two sides reportedly far apart in terms of a new deal. Tampa's offering one thing, Wirfs and his agent want something else. And listen, Tristan Wirfs is a top 5 offensive tackle in this league, if not top 3. and he wants to reset the market. Penei Sewell got $28 million per year at right tackle and $85 million guaranteed. Tristan Wirfs played right tackle his first 3 years, flipped to left last year, didn't skip a beat. Was still a high level player. So he wants to top that. I think he's probably going to push for more than 28 per year and more than 85 on guarantees, and I'm guessing Tampa's not offering at least one of those. But quite frankly, I expect Tampa to pay up, because what are you going to do? You're going to let him hit the open market next year? I guess you could franchise tag him next year, but look, all-pro offensive tackles don't come along that often. When you find one that's young, you keep that player. Period. End of story. You just paid Baker Mayfield. You got to keep him upright with Tristan Wirfs. A trade is interesting. I mean, what could you get if you're Tampa? Could you get a 1 and a 2? Could you get a 1 and a player if things were to get ugly here? I don't think we're in that territory yet, but this is a really good young player in Tristan Wirfs, and I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be the highest paid offensive tackle in the league. And then 3-star wide receivers still not practicing. Jamar Chase, Brandon Aiyuk, CeeDee Lamb. Aiyuk holding in. I think he's in a slightly different category of the other two, as he's very good, but the Niners aren't a high-volume passing team, 32nd in pass rate, volume rate last year. CeeDee Lamb is the Cowboys' offense, and Jamar Chase, while yes, the Bengals have T. Higgins, he's closer to that Justin Jefferson tier of player than Brandon Aiyuk. But you just wonder which team's going to budge first, or which player is going to budge first. Now, Cincinnati, it kind of sounds like they just want to push this to next year, because Chase is only 3 years in. He's got this year under contract, team option for the 5th year. I think the Bengals are saying, hey, listen, we'll do this next offseason. We'll probably let T. Higgins go, and then we'll pay you the bag. So it kind of feels like that's where that's heading. Now we'll see if Chase, if and when he decides to show up and be a full go. Brandon Aiyuk, I don't know what he does, because, he's probably looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown, who caught 119 balls in Detroit last year, and the money he got at over 30 a year. He's probably saying, I could be that productive in a different offense. But the Niners are saying, but this isn't a different offense. So take 27 a year or leave it. And they're kind of at a stalemate. And Adam Schefter said that the window is tightening on getting Aiyuk done because the market has exploded. You might have been able to get him at 26, 27 per year back in February, but now Aiyuk wants at least 30. And I don't know if the Niners are going to pay that. So things could get a little ugly there. But this is a huge year for San Francisco before they potentially have to pay Brock Purdy. You need Aiyuk this year if you're trying to be a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. So you do wonder if they're just going to, break, if you will, and just pay him what he wants. But they may not. They may explore the trade market and see what's out there. CeeDee Lamb, Stephen Jones told reporters that he wants more than Justin Jefferson, which sounds a little crazy. Now, last year he was fully healthy, had a better year because Jetta missed some time. I think Jetta's the better player, but I think Lamb's closer to Jefferson than people think. He's just as young. He's incredibly productive. Without him, the Cowboys' wide receiver room is a joke. Like, at least the Vikings, they have Jordan Addison at least. The Cowboys don't have that, right? Like, CeeDee Lamb holds a lot of leverage. Now, I don't know if he holds enough leverage to reset the market more than Justin Jefferson, but second highest paid receiver, if I'm Lamb, that's at minimum what I want. So I think Dallas is gonna have to budge there, and they've obviously slow played a lot of these contracts with CD, Micah Parsons, obviously Dak, with Schefter saying he could get more than $60 million per year. But this wide receiver thing is getting interesting, because are teams going to continue to raise this number for these number one receivers, or are you going to start to see teams saying, we're just going to draft new guys every couple of years, and we're not going to pay a guy $30 million. It's kind of what the Chiefs did. They're like, hey, Tyreek Hill, we love you, man, but we'll take a first, a second, and a couple other picks, and we'll go draft Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Rashee Rice as a second rounder, and we'll take a quartet of players more than just giving you $30 million per year. And they won 2 straight Super Bowls. So I'm not saying that model can be replicated, but at some point I do think some of these teams are going to say, we love you, man, but if a team's going to throw us a 1 and a 3 and you want $35 million per year, we're going to ship you out elsewhere. Now, I expect Chase to be in Cincinnati because I think Higgins is gone after this year. I expect Lamb to be in Dallas because they don't have other guys at receiver right now. Aiyuk, though, the Niners may draw a line in the sand and ultimately just decide to move on, whether it's right now before the season or after this season if Aiyuk ultimately were to just play on his fifth-year deal and then move on. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But those are today's top training camp storylines. Again, if we get to 700 subscribers by the time we're set to film tomorrow, we will drop that blockbuster NFL trades video. So if you want more NFL and college football content on a daily basis, hit that subscribe button. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you soon.